Hey guys, just Patrick here from Complete Health, and I've just come back in from the gym and I've just jumped into the supermarket and just listening to people complain about the cost of food or eating food on a budget. And I thought I'd just jump on and give a couple of tips and hints for people that potentially want to add a little bit more nutrition or benefits to their diet without adding huge amounts of expense. Nowadays, food is produced on much bigger scales, and so we can keep it relatively cost efficient, but there are some super easy ways to get more nutrients into our diet without adding huge amounts of expenses. Now, one of the biggest things that probably adds a huge amount of cost to people's diet is probably meat and animal products. So stuff like chicken breast, steaks, lamb, chops and stuff like that, they're all a lot cheaper probably than what they used to be, but because they're mass produced, but they're still much more expensive and they will actually spike up your food bills. Now, typically foods that are low in nutrients are quite often cheap. And that's an argument that I get told all the time. Well, it's much cheaper to buy stuff like bread or biscuits or etc., etc., etc. So stuff that is like full of flour and sugar. And flour and sugar are really, really, really cheap products because they can be grown on mass scale. However, they are super low in nutrients. And as a result, what ends up happening is you eat those foods, it spikes your blood glucose. You get absolutely no vitamins or minerals from it. And as a result, what ends up happening, your blood glucose then crashes. You have no vitamins and minerals in your body and you become hungry again and you end up doing the same thing again. So in turn, what ends up actually happening is if you eat a lot of processed and refined foods like bread, like sweets, like biscuits, like cakes, like rolls, brioche, you name it, crackers, whatever, stuff that's high in flour and sugar will spike your blood glucose, it'll crash back down again, you've had no nutrients, and you end up actually eating more. So yes, okay, the product might be cheaper. You may get 100 or 200 grams of biscuits for the same price or less than the same price as 200 or 300 grams of vegetables. However, one's significantly lower in nutrients, and as a result, you're going to end up eating more of it, e.g. the biscuits and the cakes. So a couple of tips that I actually find that can be really good for bulking out meals, keeping them nutrient dense, but actually also reducing the costs are as the following. So taking stuff like tins of beans or lentils, say for example, if you want to make a spaghetti bolognese, adding something like a tin of red lentils, or if you make a chili, adding 2 or 3 different types of beans with your chili, even if you use meat. By the way, I don't use meat, but even if you use meat, adding more beans will add more protein to your food. It will add extra iron, it would add extra stuff like vitamins and minerals that you'll get from the fresh beans and vegetables, yet you can still get the protein from the beans and still get the added taste and flavor from the beef or whatever else you add to stuff like your chili. So adding something really simple like lentils to your bolognese or beans to your chili can bulk it up, make it bigger, keep it more nutrients dense, but significantly drive your price down. Now, another tip might be is using products from places like Aldi and Lidl. Aldi and Lidl are absolutely amazing. And I have to admit, like, I live down the road to an Aldi. Now, anybody that's trying to eat healthy on a budget, this is like a must supermarket. Now, their products are significantly reduced in comparison to other supermarkets. They keep significantly less. So if you go into the fruit and vegetable section, they'll have significantly less variety than other supermarkets, but their prices will be significantly lower, and actually I think probably about 15 to 20% lower in someone like Aldi. And then you may just have to go to another supermarket to pick up the last little bits to fill out your meals. But if you do the majority of your shopping somewhere like that, you will find that it becomes significantly cheaper. Now, something else that will drive the cost of your nutrition down is buying foods that are in season. So say for example, if you want to eat berries, but it's the middle of the winter, the likelihood is they'll have to come from another continent. And as a result, they'll be much more expensive in the winter than what they will be in the summer. And even if the prices of the actual product don't go up, what you'll find is you'll get smaller portions during the winter than what you would have done in the summer. So you may get a 400 gram punnet for £2 in the summer, but then in the winter, you might get a 250 gram punnet for exactly the same price. Something else that can massively drop the price of food is choosing something like frozen vegetables as opposed to fresh. So say, for example, if you've got something like peas or berries, you can buy frozen from the supermarkets. You can add these to stuff like your curries. You can add stuff like berries to smoothies and to stuff like your cereals in the morning if you leave them out to defrost overnight. And again, way of adding a lot more vitamins and minerals. And the great thing about frozen fruits and vegetables is they are significantly higher in vitamins and minerals because they've been picked and then stored quickly to maintain the levels of vitamins and minerals that are actually in there. So these are just some of my tips, that you can use. And by the way, you guys don't have to use them, but the point is, right, is if you're going to spend the same amount of money on food because you're going to end up eating junk food, why not just spend a little bit more and actually buy something for yourself that's going to actually have a positive effect on your body? It's going to make you feel fuller for longer, and your body's actually going to enjoy it. It stops making you feel like rubbish, and your body can actually start to function and run off the fuels that it was designed to run off of. Patrick here from Complete Health, just giving you a few tips on how to look after yourself and actually eat better on a budget. By the way, nutrition is super important when you start looking at stuff like chiropractic. If I was not looking at getting people to live healthier lifestyles, not eating a better diet and not becoming less inflammatory in the way that they live, it's not going to support the care. If someone's eating a rubbish diet and they're coming in and getting adjusted every week, their results are being wasted because they're not actually putting the fuels and resources in their body for their body to actually properly repair. So good nutrition is essential to chiropractic care. However, I do understand that some people need to do it on a budget, and so these were my top tips. So hopefully you found some value in this. If you know someone that might find some value, share it with them. If you've got some questions that you want me to answer, please leave a comment below and I'll try and get those questions answered for you. Until tomorrow, Patrick here from Complete Health, and we'll speak to you again soon.